I'm Laurie Cardoza-Moore, and this is Focus on Israel. Are you aware of how Christians and Jews are joining together in all parts of the world? Christians are finding a love for the Jews, and Jews are accepting and loving Christians. This is truly a move of God, as there is not really an organized movement, but each has found this as their hearts have been changed and grown in relationships. On today's edition of Focus on Israel, we'll be looking at the alliance that has sprung from this movement. Hello, I'm Laurie Cardoza-Moore, founder and president of Proclaiming Justice to the Nations, a nonprofit organization dedicated to educating and sharing the message of Christian biblical responsibility to the people and land of Israel against the rise of global genocidal anti-Semitism. On our show today, we'll hear from a powerful advocate for the burgeoning JewishChristian Alliance, Dennis Prager. On Los Angeles radio since 1982, Dennis is the conservative voice and proponent for Judeo-Christian values. This Jewish-American syndicated radio talk show host and LA Times syndicated columnist is also an author, lecturer, and Torah scholar. Dennis has committed himself to an ongoing interfaith dialogue from Catholics at the Vatican to Protestants at Christian seminaries throughout America. Unifying both, Dennis brings faith to the Jew and awareness to the Christian. Dennis implores Christians to understand that Jews are deeply religious. There is no group of people more religious than Jews. But the religion of many postmodern Jews is not God or Bible-based. Instead, secularism has become the religion of most Jews and half of the Jews in Israel. So who alone now stands with Israel? Religious Christian America. What irony. It is a point of great disconnect for the Jew. For Jews over the course of history, the cross has been a source of great terror. But could this adage be turning around today as Dennis talks about Jews for the cross and Christians for Israel?
There is something happening in the United States of America at this time of which this evening is representative that has never happened in the history of the world. And I believe very deeply it's the most powerful force gathering steam on earth today, and that is the JewishChristian Alliance. It has Now, I am not naive. I hate naivete. I think it's okay for kids to be naive, but adults, it's a sin to be naive. So I'm not speaking with rose-colored glasses. I know of the obstacles, left and right, in this regard. But there is, and this evening is a testimony to this, and our best friends in a world that doesn't help us and either wants to destroy us or doesn't care if we're destroyed, are Christian America. And we have few friends in secular Europe. This is a lesson Israelis need to hear, because a lot of Israelis were raised in the belief, understandably, which is its own problem, and I won't delve into that with depth now, that secularism is the salvation of Jews. Half of Jewry believes that. You Christians must understand that for half of the people born with the name Cohen or Edelstein or Rosenbaum, secularism is their religion. They believe in it as much as the Chabad rabbi and the other rabbis believe in Judaism. As much as you Christians believe in the Gospels, they believe in secularism. It is their religion. and it is the religion of half of Israel. But this is a God that failed. Secular Europe stands by while Israelis are slaughtered, from the Olympics to Tel Aviv. Christian America stands alone with Israel. It is not secular America that stands with Israel. It is not leftist America that stands with Israel. It is religious America that stands with Israel. And this is very difficult for many Jews to hear, because there is no people more religious than Jews. The problem is that most Jews' religion isn't Judaism. It's liberalism, it's secularism, it's feminism, it's environmentalism, it's Marxism. If it's got an ism, Jews founded it. Jews make isms like Italians make operas. That is just the way it is. Jews are a deeply religious people. Unfortunately, most of it isn't God or Bible-based. This is a tragedy for the Jews. It is a tragedy for humanity. But that's the reality. That is the reality, and some of us in Jewish life are fighting it. But I want you Christians to understand that you help us make this fight by presenting a very interesting new development. Well, by golly, our best friends turn out to be religious Christians. This is very discomforting. Very discomforting. Jews don't know what to do with this. They don't know what to do with this. I wrote a piece for the Los Angeles Times. I pinch myself that the LA Times published it, but every 3 weeks I have a column in the Sunday section on something to do with religion. And my last column was cognitive dissonance in Jews' lives. And this is the LA Times. This is not the Jewish Journal of LA. This is the LA Times. And the article was about cognitive dissonance in Jewish life. And what is the cognitive dissonance? The cognitive dissonance is this. The thing that Jews most venerated turns out to be the least trustworthy, and the things Jews most least trusted turn out to be their best friends. What is it that Jews most venerate? The university. It's the secular temple. Jews venerate education. Jews venerate secularism. How could they not venerate the university? But it turns out, as the Harvard's president announced 3 years ago, and he is a Jew and a secular liberal, and Larry Summers announces the university has become the center of anti-Semitism in America. So the thing they most venerate turns out to be the most hostile to Jewish interest. Then the thing that Jews least trusted, strong, vibrant, conservative Christians, turn out to be their best friends. It's enough to give a Jew a migraine. What are we going to do about this? Now, you must understand this. You must understand, my dear Christians in this audience. You must understand Jews are not paranoid for having distrust of Christians. This is not sheer left-wing secular propaganda. This is rooted in the tragic history of Jews in Europe. In Europe, not in America, and that's what I tell American Jews. It's not fair to burden American Christians with what Jews suffered with Europe. It's not fair. Don't do that. Aside from anything else, it's just not fair. But in any event, there is both propaganda and there is truth. You said it yourself. This generation won't stand by when Jews get hurt. Not like the past. You all applauded at that line. That is what Jews remember. I was on Vatican radio 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I was brought to the Vatican, where I had the honor of meeting the late Pope John Paul II as a representative of American Jewry. And I went on Vatican radio, and I said, this was the very beginning of that Pope's tenure. And I said, this Pope has a chance to change the way Jews view the cross. This is news to most Christians, that what you see as a symbol of pure, unadulterated love, Jews have seen as a symbol of terror. What you see as love, Jews are afraid of. I grew up that way. I grew up in the yeshiva world. I grew up with a grandfather who taught me, who ran away from pogroms in Europe. That's what I was used to. The cross is to be feared. It's changing. It's changing.
This month marks the 70th anniversary of the historic Declaration of the State of Israel. God's sovereign hand can be seen all over this land. Included in the celebrations is the opening of the American Embassy right here in Jerusalem. In honor of this celebration, PJTN is offering a special 70th anniversary package, which includes a captivating new book and an award-winning DVD. Israel Rising is a unique visual story of Israel's miraculous journey from unforgiving desert to thriving nation. Thousands of years ago, the prophet Ezekiel foretold a future time in which the arid land of Israel would come alive for its people. Now this breathtaking book documents the fulfillment of this vision, as rarely seen photographs from the 1880s to the 1940s are juxtaposed with recent photos of the same locations. This book will inspire and captivate you as it illuminates Israel's foretold awakening in a new and unforgettable way. In addition, you'll receive the award-winning documentary, Israel Indivisible: The Case for the Ancient Homeland. This inspiring film examines the many political twists and turns that make Israel the world's most controversial nation. From Abraham and the Promise to the issues facing the Jewish state today, the film examines the historical, archaeological, legal, and biblical foundations for the modern state of Israel. This is a limited time offer for these two remarkable resources for just a one-time gift of $70 today. Your generous donation will help ensure that PJTN stays on the front lines and in the headlines of all the important issues facing Israel and our Jewish brethren. So please go to pjtn.org today. From studying history, it's very clear that what starts with the Jews never ends only with the Jews. We must strongly stand against any anti-Semitic trends, for if not stopped, they'll cause harm to all of us, and we'll witness the downfall of our Judeo-Christian Western culture. Today, many people say there's no longer a need for a Jewish state, that Jews around the world no longer need a place of refuge. But anyone who has heard recent statistics about the worldwide rise in anti-Semitism would never make such a claim. The reality is that neo-Nazi groups and Nazi sympathizers are increasing around the world. Surveys show that over 1 billion people in the world harbor anti-Semitic attitudes. Close to 50% believe that Jews have too much power in the business world, and 2/3 of the world's population has never heard of the Holocaust or believe the historic accounts of it are inaccurate. Don't let yourself be manipulated by evil people with a wicked agenda. When the self-serving villains are in control, good people from all religions suffer. Muslims, Christians, and all people of conscience should stand proudly and show respect for a country that gives so much to the world in so many ways. Do your part, do your research, and do what you can to make a difference. Because what happens in Israel does affect us all. This is not just a Jewish or just an Israeli problem. This is a problem for all humanity, for each and every one of us who believe in freedom and human rights. Learn more about what you can do at pjtn.org.
And now what you have is Jews for the cross and Christians for Israel. This is huge. This is a huge moment. That is what is new. Believe me, I'll never forget, I spoke for, there was a salute to Christians, an evening just to thank Christians, organized by a Chabad rabbi in Southern California in Agoura, Rabbi Brisky. Rabbi Brisky gets up, you know Rabbi Brisky. Rabbi Brisky gets up at this evening salute to Christians. Must have been 1,000 people there. I was the speaker, so I was obviously there. And he begins by saying, I have to tell the truth. My grandfather, may he rest in peace, is rolling in his grave. He would not have expected his grandson, a Chabad rabbi, to have an evening saluting Christians. But this is a new world that we are living in, And only if Jews and Christians unite to fight the forces of darkness, and they are darkness, that are engulfing mankind, then we'll win. If we don't unite, we cannot win. We need each other terribly. And there are people who don't want this. There are Christians who don't want this. There are Jews who do not want this. And there are certainly non-Christians and non-Jews who do not want this. I get letters from Jews all the time that I'm selling the Jews out. You know, like whites who fought for blacks. They were black lovers. I'm a Christian lover, which is true. I am. I must admit, I declare guilt before the tribunal for loving Christians. But this is what they get. And again, I told you I'd be totally open with you, but we have to know how to answer the issues. Dennis, don't you know they want to convert us? So let me deal with that issue, because I have a motto in life. If there is a hippopotamus in the room, one should acknowledge its presence. The hippopotamus in any Jewish Christian room is that issue. They don't think we're saved, and they want to convert us. So let me tell you how I deal with Jews on both these issues. I've written about it. It's on the internet. I've spoken about it. My biggest single response, in a nutshell, is, so what? As I was telling you, I have found that the two most powerful words are so what. People make mountains out of molehills, and then when you say so what, they're tongue-tied. Okay, so, right. So their theology holds that you need to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior for salvation. That's their theology. Who are you to condemn them for their theology? Of course they would like us to convert. They would like everybody on earth to convert. So what? Why does that stop you from accepting their sincere, religiously felt, beautiful, generous help? Why? And they have no answer. Once you pose it that way, there is no answer. I'll never forget the deal. I had Jerry Falwell in LA about 25 years ago at a big public forum near Beverly Hills. And we were talking about this, and I said, Reverend Falwell, can we handshake here in front of these 1,200 people, mostly Jews at this forum, that we make a deal. You and those who support you support Israel and the Jewish people until Jesus comes, and in return we promise to recognize him when he does. He liked the deal, and I liked the deal. It's meant respectfully, it's meant beautifully. What is the big deal? What is the big deal? I know your theology, but this is the irony about Jews who object to your theology. Listen to how backwards it is. They are doing exactly what they condemn Christians for doing, and that is judging people by their faith. You are judging Christians by their faith. Judge them by their behavior. They are the backbone of America. They are the backbone of America's support for Israel. They are the backbone of the strength morally and ethically of this country. That's all that you've achieved, Christians. That's pretty darn good in my book. If we shared identical theologies, we'd be the members of the same religion. But you know what? This is what's so interesting, and it took me a while to learn, and it takes Christians a while to learn. With all the emphasis on theology, values trump theology, and I'll prove it to you. I will prove it to you. Because you feel closer to me than you do to the Christians of the National Council of Churches. How could that be? And why do I feel closer to you than I do to left-wing Jews? There's no comparison. No comparison. So it's very interesting. Values trump everything. When I tell Jews, so they say, so why are they supporting Israel? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. First of all, I did an hour on my show On this hour, I said nothing. I was a telephone answering machine. I said, I want you to call in if you're Christian and support Israel and just say why. I will say nothing. The lines lit up from across this country, reason after reason after reason why they support Israel. And it was so, not one mentioned what some Jews say, you know why? Because they believe in this theology that, if the Jews will be in Israel, then they will be in Armageddon, the Jews will be all destroyed, and Jesus will come. So they're really rooting for the Jews to be destroyed. I never met one Christian who gave me that answer. Let me finish by saying that the role that the Jews in Israel play is so obvious but I guess, hey, it takes believers to acknowledge it. That role is evil focuses first on Jews. That Hitler started with Jews. He was dismissed as the Jews' problem, but he wasn't just the Jews' problem. He was first the Jews' problem. But no one is ever only the Jews' problem. They are first the Jews' problem. The terror against Israel until 9/11 was dismissed as the Jews' problem. Israel's problem, in fact, Israel's fault, if you got a PhD in Middle Eastern history. After all, what do you expect? Terror is the poor man's tank, right? If they had tanks and airplanes, they'd fight with that, but they don't. So they fight this way. This is what you learn at university. It's the Jews' fault that their children get blown up in cafes, right? Well, the world is learning. Madrid, London, Bali, you name the place. India yesterday, right? Now it's all over, including in Arab countries. Whenever the world dismisses Jew hatred as a Jewish problem, it gets hurt shortly thereafter. Jew hatred is the world's problem. Not for idealistic reasons, for selfish reasons, because those who hate the Jews hate good. Not because all Jews are good. A lot of Jews are no better than anybody else. And some are worse than others. Of course, Jews run the gamut, just like any other group. But the Jews have a divine role, whether we like it or not. And frankly, I don't like it. I wish God chose Burmese. But he didn't. He chose us. And I believe that. And so I have the role to play. And I have a choice. I can either welcome it or flee from it. Most Jews flee from it. But it doesn't matter. I tell Jews, Jews are Jonah. Jonah is the most powerful story in the Bible to explain Jewish behavior today. God gives Jonah a prophetic role. He doesn't want it, and God sends storms where he is, until finally he has to be thrown overboard for peace to come to the ocean. Jews are trying to run away from the prophetic role that God gave them. But there are storms wherever Jews go and run away from that role. We start storms. That's the way it is, because God has his plan. And those are God's plans, and you just can't mess around with them. You can deny it, you can run, but you will get thrown overboard. That's the Jewish role. You Christians know it. I had an evening in Denver at a church, 3,000 Christians and members of the Jewish community coming for an evening, nearly all of which was in Hebrew studied by Christians, which makes sense because the founders of our country studied Hebrew. Yale's insignia is in Hebrew. The Liberty Bell has a quote from the Torah on it. This is the Judeo-Christian society in America, and I am not going to let, and you're not going to let, people who want to rob this country of its Judeo-Christian origins to win. That's the fight. God bless you. Thank you for making it. Thank you.
Will Christians accept the challenge of Jews and Christians uniting? First, to preserve the Jewish race in Israel, which in turn will save Christendom and all Western civilization. Secondly, are Christians aware of the irony for the Jew? Dennis and the Jews ask the Christian to respect them and their beliefs. Dennis pleads that Jews accept the hand of friendship being offered by Christians. For both sides, the choices are not always easy, but the need is great and the reward even greater. Well, that's our show for today, and I want to thank you for watching. The time to stand up is now. One person can make a difference. Get involved and support pro-Israel organizations such as PJTN. Visit our website, sign up to receive free action alerts, and order our films to share with others. Please encourage your family and friends to tune in and watch Focus on Israel. God bless you, and thank you for all you do on behalf of our Jewish brethren and all Israel. We'll see you next time on Focus on Israel.
To support this program, send your tax-deductible gift to Proclaiming Justice to the Nations, P.O. Box 682711, Franklin, Tennessee 37068. You can also support PJTN online. Visit pjtn.org or call 1-877-873-9020.
Anti-Semitism has reached epic proportions, and Israel is now surrounded by nations who seek its destruction. For Israel to lose just one battle would mean losing everything. As Christians, it is our biblical responsibility to stand with our Jewish brethren and Israel. PJTN needs your help to reach more Christians with this urgent message. Please visit our website to become a member today and order our award-winning documentaries. You must decide that you won't be silent. Sign up now at pjtn.org. God bless you, and thank you for your support and prayers.
Focus on Israel is now available on DVD. Each program DVD contains a wealth of bonus materials, including the premier program that started it all, Focus on Israel, program number 1. Also, bonus interview cuts with experts in their respective fields. Informational videos from PJTN documentaries, including Israel Indivisible, The Case for the Ancient Homeland. Lest We Forget, 9/11 and the Rise of Islam. The Forgotten People, Christianity and the Holocaust. Disinformation, the secret strategy to destroy the West. Plus the award-winning music video, The Forgotten People. Focus on Israel program DVDs, great educational tools to combat anti-Semitism. Arm yourself and order today.
I will not rest. I will